All right, guys, welcome back to the Fresh
Squeeze.
Podcast. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing glasses, that means you ain't watched part one. So click the link in the description, hop back over there, check out what we're even talking about, and come right back here and check this one out. See, you stayed in. You stayed in. Go watch it. Go watch it. Real talk. Stop playing. All right. Welcome back. We're getting into part two. And man, we got a lot. We got a lot left on this plate. We really got a lot left on this plate, man. Because so, just to kind of recap part one, in case you decided you're gonna save this for another day, we were talking a little bit about the GOAT debate and Michael Jordan's greatness in general, and just kind of some of the common arguments that are put up against his legacy, specifically relating to LeBron, but also just in general. And in the intermission, you brought up a good point, kind of about greatness and how its definition changes, as players mature. Not even in the NBA, but even before. So let's get right into that.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying, it got kind of got a little heated about it because it made me think of certain players that we don't deem as even in the conversation of being the greatest that are really the best basketball players on the planet, man. So I was saying if someone were to say someone is better than me, a better basketball player than me in general at this age, before we get to the NBA, the pro level, and how much you won, right? If somebody's a better basketball player, they're going to say, all right, well, you're going to, check these boxes. All right, does he shoot better? Does he pass better? Does he defend? Does he affect the game? Is he clutch? That type of stuff. You're going to go down the list, and then piece by piece, if he's better at this and does it at a higher level than you, then he's better than you, right? That's what it's known as, right? Then when we get to the league, people don't understand that everybody can hoop. Everybody is one of the best, 200 top 250 players in the league. That's what the NBA is about. It's that high level. So everybody has that aspect and has the skill to be able to hoop. Now, at that level, at that stage, it's about your legacy, about winning, what you do with that. That's who's determined as the greatest of all time. See, everybody that's just a PSA to everybody, because that kind of gets me tight, and I don't understand why that's such a misconception. It's not like I can understand because it's the greatest basketball player of all time. But if we go into the LeBron debate, go back to that. I mean, like I was saying, people think LeBron is a better all-around player when he isn't necessarily. I mean, I think a lot of people just look at his stats and see that he's a terrific passer, probably one of the best passers, that shows it, like top 10 ever, you know what I'm saying? So he has the stats to show for that. But if you're going into it and arguing that versus Jordan and saying Jordan doesn't have that, it's just because of the system he was in and the times he was playing. Like we were saying, Jordan was an ISO scorer. He was an assassin. So that's all he had to do. And then before he even, that's when Pippen came in. He led his team in assists. So Jordan wasn't going to be going around passing the ball and all that. Rebounding. He had Dennis Rodman. So, all he had to do was score on that team. You know what I'm saying? If he was by himself, I'm sure he would have, LeBron numbers. Before Pippen came, 26, what was it, 26, 6 and 6?
Yeah, his rookie year, he averaged 28, 6 and 6, or 5 and 6, or 6 and 5, I think. And I think his fifth year in the league, he averaged 32, 8 and 8. So there's no real question about whether Jordan could put up those type of numbers. Also he played point guard for I think 11 games and averaged a triple double or near a triple double with 30 points. I think people just look at Jordan's scoring numbers and assume okay, he couldn't have put, what I'm saying, but that's why, what I'm saying, that should open your eyes right there and seeing oh my God, oh my God, this dude was really insane, because he was just watching his command over the game was incredible, man. And I wish I would have been alive to see it.
Sure. I mean, I feel like a lot of people just don't understand. They just see numbers and they compare him and think that guy is better. You got to understand what's going on. gotta understand the system of what's going on. Like LeBron on all his teams, he's been the guy. Like on every team, he's been the guy and had to do everything and been Superman. So obviously, not to say his stats are inflated, but I mean, as far as if you look at usage ratings, I'm sure if you go into that stat, you're gonna see LeBron has the ball in his hands primarily out of all teams he's ever played on. You know what I'm saying? Like a vast percentage more. So compared to Jordan, all he did was score. I mean, that's not all he did, but that's all people think he did was just score and be clutch. That was just his role on the team compared to LeBron's role of having to run everything, be the point guard of the team, be the leader of the team, do all of this. I think it just like I'm not even a LeBron hater. I mean, to be honest, I think he's a great talent and all this stuff, but I'm just kind of, you know, thrown off by that, you know, those misconceptions of what goes on because there's a lot of great players that have played that are first ballot Hall of Famers that don't necessarily get the justice, you know, they deserve, and rightfully so because at that level they haven't picked this other side up that they needed to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to even go into that, man. Another thing we said, I was talking about D Wade and you were talking about Dirk, and you know, D Wade for me, you know, obviously my first favorite player. Uh, he's gonna be coming back soon. The poster's coming back. I'm gonna get some new tape for that. We all know this. He's coming back, but he's one of those guys that I feel like. I mean, he's not in the GOAT discussion, and obviously, like he has accolades to show that he could be, but at the same time, he's not because he didn't reach that level. You know what I'm saying? 3-time champion, but there's also like you have injuries. There's stuff that you can't control. So like he had injuries in his prime years, which could have been championship years, MVP years, or more All-Star years. You know, you never know what happens, and you can't fault him for that. And I think a lot of people praise LeBron for his longevity, which is also a good thing. That helps your status being available. But also like
The thing is, Michael Jordan had incredible longevity as well. I mean, that last game against the Jazz, the shot, he was what, 35, 36 years old. So I mean, yes, LeBron's longevity speaks for him. If we're comparing him to somebody like Larry Bird, then that definitely plays a role. But against Jordan was still winning MVPs at 35. So
I mean, this is kind of maybe an unpopular opinion, but like we look at a guy like T-Mac, bro. We look at Tracy McGrady. Like is he better than LeBron James? Honestly, like as a basketball player, you look at it like if you're taking a guy.
let's break it down. Okay, so they're both 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
You know, LeBron is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like vertically athletic. I feel like both of them. You know what I mean? Like T-Mac's athleticism actually I feel like is more practical because he was more of a 2-foot jumper.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to get up in more situations than LeBron does because you know he's a great fast break dunker. You know, obviously like maybe the greatest athlete ever, but you know, I feel like for basketball and scoring, his athleticism might have actually been more practical. But you know, we can call that a draw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did we already say shooting?
Shooting. I mean, you got to get.
Definitely Tracy McGrady. As far as clutch, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But if you just obviously because you're kind of getting into like playoff performance and so on and so forth. So as far as like game winning shots, I'm giving it to Tracy because I mean
13 points in 30 seconds.
I mean
13 seconds.
and you know, that wasn't the only feat of clutch moments. You know, ball handling, as far as like ball handling, I'm giving that to Tracy. Passing is LeBron, but I mean Tracy McGrady was also an excellent passer.
That's the other thing, bro. Tracy McGrady is really. I'm not gonna say he is LeBron in that aspect because LeBron's passing skills is
Otherworldly.
right. So I can't really say that, but it's just because he didn't show it, and the stats didn't necessarily show it to where Like, that's what it is. But we look at his top 10 passes, we're like, dang, this guy can really pass. But also, with that team, got to be a scorer, got to do that, got to put this in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all about the roles. You know what I'm saying? If you flip the roles, I feel like you can tell who's a better overall player. But like, my point with that is, a lot of people, I just came up with an argument for what we were saying about myself. A lot of people can be like, well, T-Mac got hurt, so he can't be in that conversation, which is correct. Like, we're just saying, like, overall, like, as a basketball player, we're saying like how that goes along. Overall, as a basketball player, for the years that he played, T-Mac they've been better than LeBron.
Right.
But I'd say I view LeBron higher in the GOAT conversation than T-Mac.
Absolutely. Not even close. Not even close.
In theory, T-Mac, is the better player. But at that level, like we said, it's about the skill and you're winning. Bron's won more than T-Mac. That's when all that gets trumped up. You know what I'm saying?
How do you apply your talent? How do you apply your talent? And I think that's a valuable lesson that comes from this entire discussion is like, how are you applying your talent? Because you work so hard on whatever it is you're doing, but how are you applying it? How are you, you know what I'm saying? How are you reaping the rewards of what you've done? Because that's really all it is.
Right.
That's really all it is. That's all greatness is. You're cashing in on everything you've done because at the end of the day, talent is just like money. Imagine you just make money your whole life, but you never spend it.
What's the point?
Exactly. Who wants to be the richest man on earth living in a cabin?
Exactly.
Makes no sense. I'll ask you this question, though, because I think it's right on line with what we're talking about. Is Kevin Durant the best basketball player we've ever seen? And think about it. It might sound crazy, and that might be the title to this video. I'm not going to lie. But if you think about it,
The man is a monster. That man is a monster, bro. That man is a 7-foot guard, bro. But the thing is, this is what also is getting me tight. Like I was saying, man, we bash KD for going to a place and putting himself in a situation where he can win, right?
Right. And I mean, there's in some ways, rightfully so.
And if you think about it, Kevin Durant is like, honestly, he probably is the best, basketball player. If you're talking about how vast your bag is. But like Dirk fade, 3-ball, mid range, inside scoring, defense, rebounding, passing out of the post, out of the mid post, creating like that. Overall, he's the best player like in the league. But nobody views him as the GOAT. Everybody views him as a stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we punish him. We punish him for winning. And this is not, like I said, I'm not hating against LeBron. It's just like I'm just telling the truth of the situation and how I feel about it. So, we punish him and bash him for going to a place in a situation where he can win. Not to say LeBron wasn't bashed for going, and joining the Heat. That's not my point with this. But we bash him for going to a situation where he can win. And he wins 2 rings and they don't matter. So a lot of people, it doesn't matter to him in that GOAT category, you know what I'm saying? But KD is a better basketball player than LeBron. And LeBron, we praise LeBron we put him in the GOAT conversation over KD. Now, you can say, because he has 3 rings. All right, if KD wins 2 more rings, then what? Like, I still feel like nobody's saying KD is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. And I think it's hard. I think it's hard because it's, like with guys like Magic and Bird and Jordan and Kobe now and, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and the list goes on. Those legends who've retired, we've always, and I mean, if you take Kobe off, we've always known kind of those guys' entire legacy. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like guys like Steph Curry and KD and even Kawhi now have quietly built pretty legendary resumes and legacies. And
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem as legendary as those other guys for me sometimes, but then I look at it and it's like, wow, they've put together some crazy resumes because, but we just don't really realize it fully because we've been around watching it occur.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I'd say to take it even to the conversation of D Wade and Dirk, man. I mean, we were both kind of young, but we sat there and we watched it and we took in the greatness and we understood what was going on. And neither of them are in the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
Like,
mean,
like,
no.
honestly, like you talk about the four man. Who's the greatest ever? Everybody says Tim Duncan,
Yeah,
but
I
like
mean, people put KG and Barkley and Malone over Dirk, and I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like you can't flip the standard. Is it about winning or is it about skill? Because if that's the case, then Dirk should be up there. Like I'm giving my argument for Dirk for everybody. If if that's the case, he's won a ring and beats your proclaimed GOAT, and he's overall better. Like, all right, if you say just because somebody is better in one specific category than somebody else that's hitting all the other categories, then that doesn't necessarily make them a better basketball player. It just makes them better at that aspect. But I feel like the way Dirk affected the game is much greater than a lot of these other guys. Now you can argue, guys like Charles Barkley, KG, but like I said, skill wise, I mean, you can argue that Dirk is better, obviously, than those guys. I mean, Barkley, he was able to handle the ball, all that kind of stuff, and like in his prime and all kind of stuff. He was an MVP in his own right, Hall of Famer. But winning, you can't trump winning. Like in the league, winning, I'd say winning is everything. That's gonna put you over guys that you're not necessarily, better, like just in general better than. But the thing is, when you have both and you win, then I feel like that should be polarized. You know what I'm saying? Like in Dirk's case, I feel like that should be more polarized than it is.
for
Like I think
sure.
a lot is good. And then even going into D Wade's case, like a lot of guys say he was washed. Like I said in the last video, a lot of guys say he was washed in the 2011 finals, bro. Like me personally, bro, I kind of was depressed when they lost to the Spurs the last year because I knew D Wade was hurt. That was when he's kind of started declining because of his knees and all that kind of stuff, man. But that's Hall of Famer, bro. That's the third best shooting guard to ever play the game. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he doesn't necessarily get disrespected, as much as Dirk. As far as that, like I feel like everybody registers, D Wade. I think everybody registers, the two guard position as Jordan, Kobe, and D Wade. So if not, I haven't heard
Yeah, I mean
another.
Harden is coming for it, but yeah, he doesn't have the rings. They have him at 4 right now. I haven't seen anybody put him over Wade.
Right.
Yeah,
But even then, like they're saying, three-time NBA champion, won without LeBron and put the whole team on his shoulders type thing. But I feel like if he wasn't, like I said, again, you can't go back, you can't blame them for getting hurt, but it's the same case as the Team Mac thing, bro. If D Wade would have won a second chip, like that 08, 09 year, he was going crazy when he got hurt. They win a chip that year. Oh man, that's 2 rings. Say Bron comes 4. That's 4 rings. Like that's you gotta equate that. Then he's in a hunt battling for Kobe spot. You know what I'm saying? At that point, so like you can't blame him for that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like LeBron's you know accolades get overlooked. I mean, not overlooked, over polarized, just
the,
because.
I think the way to describe it is like the need for the goats to come out of this generation has caused us to kind of diminish a lot of guys' legacies. We've diminished Bird's legacy, Magic's legacy by just leapfrogging LeBron over him.
Mhm.
You know, uh, diminished Wade's legacy, even Chris Bosh's legacy.
Yeah.
You know, and then we just spit on the entire 90s era and decade and say, the only team that Jordan had to compete against was the Pistons.
Right.
Wow. Seriously? So now we're just throwing Clyde Drexler out the window, Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, all of these guys who are Hall of Famers and worked tirelessly to try and get to the championship and weren't able to because of Jordan's greatness. And we just kind of, deflate their legacy. I mean, we're even trying to deflate the greatest icon in basketball history. We're trying to deflate his legacy to, so that we can say we watched the GOAT.
Right.
And, I just don't think that's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. I don't see why the need for that to happen is so crazy,
Yeah.
Don't have to force it. Didn't force it with Jordan. It was funny. I don't know if you peeped that in the Last Dance, but I mean, even the French people, they were like, yeah, you don't even have to watch basketball to like appreciate this because this is the man who's closest to God on the planet. And I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. It's really crazy. But man, we're running out of time again. Oh snap. So we'll cut it here. Tomorrow, we got another episode of Film School coming. Hope you guys enjoyed that first one.
I missed my
You said what?
class. I missed that session.
Yeah, I don't see how you were the one of all people to miss that session.
My bad, bro.
Yeah, it's okay. Just serve your detention.
I'm gonna tune.
And it'll be fine. Serve the detention. But so you guys don't have to serve any detentions, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment down below. I don't want detention if you made it this far. Melvin, you got anything to add?
Just don't miss class. You'll get ridiculed for the next week until the next episode comes out. Be ready to learn about.
You said what?
About hooping. Be ready to learn.
You've heard it here first from Melvin Tobar and Stephen Ant Smith.
Oh my God.
This has been
The Fresh
Squeeze
Podcast.
I appreciate you guys for tuning in every time. And if you're new, welcome aboard. You've got some catching up to do.
Show.
We'll see y'all on the next one. We're signing off.
Be safe.
Time to write your story. Time to let your imagination go. Where do you want to live? What car do you want to drive? What places do you want to see? It's all up to you now. It's your story to write. Leave the story of your past behind and write a new one. And be ready to live what you write, because this story will be like no other. But it will share one thing with all of their stories. This story will start with a hero. And that hero is you.